Hello everyone, I'm Carmen Jardine, and in today's training we will be exploring the importance of workplace ethics and how leaders can cultivate an ethical and positive work environment. So we want to accomplish from this training video is a couple of objectives, which are identifying and distinguishing between ethical and unethical behavior decisions. We also want to identify the various responsibilities at work and establish organizational guidelines to help employees make better decisions that benefit the workplace. Strategies for leadership teams to apply and foster an ethical and more positive work environment. Right? So, first, we want to be able to identify the meaning, the definition, and the difference between ethics and moral. Churchill states that morals refer to human behavior where morality is the practical activity, and ethics describes the theoretical, systematic, and rational reflection upon that human behavior. So let's go through morals. Aquino and Reed, 2002, define morals as the identity that's rooted in specific moral traits and based on a social cognitive oriented conception of the self. Individual differences or contextual and situational variables can activate a key aspect of moral identity. So, and morals are the guiding principles of behavior that allow individuals to coexist harmoniously within a society. Morality dictates what society deems as correct and acceptable, reflecting the values of a particular group at any given time, moment. So it's important for one to reflect on the morals that shape our own choices regarding different things in our lives, such as like friendship, finances, education, family. Kind of reflecting on this can provide us valuable insight into our values and facilitate more informed decision making. So morals are never, there's never a same perspective as another person when it comes to their moral code. So morals are shared within a group, so a culture, religion, some type of social group. However, my moral code is not identical to someone else's. So, and an example could be, for instance, even back when pirates existed, they also had a moral code, that group. So every group has some sort of code that they identify with. Right, so now we're going to go to what is work ethic. Johari 2016 defines professional ethics as not a universal code, but it refers to a special code of conduct adhered to by those who are engaged in a common pursuit. So it's not universal, it's not the same across all boards, but each group, each organization has a special code of conduct. So, for instance, a banking system would be different from an automotive organization. To promote ethical behavior within a company, it is important to clearly define what is what it means to be ethical within that specific organization. An article from Pentalakis 2023 states that the concept of work ethic encompasses a set of principles and values, beliefs that influence how individuals behave and make decisions in their professional lives. An organization's policy serves as a guiding force for its employees, delineating acceptable behavioral norms. The difference between morals and ethics is often perceived as interchangeable, and it is. However, morals are more personal and emotional based, relating to one's sense of right and wrong, while ethics involves making decisions about what's right and wrong based on reason. So it's much more systematic and structured, the decision making. Why is workplace ethics important? This is such an important question. Why it is important to have an ethics code within an organization. It's important because it impacts the organizational reputation, it impacts productivity, it also impacts job satisfaction, and it also impacts the transparency and the fair work environment of the organization. According to a survey conducted by Zipdo, 93% of leaders agreed that workplace ethics have the greatest impact on an organization's success. Emerging research has found that ethical leadership is related to important follow-up outcomes, such as job satisfaction, organizational commitment, willingness to report problems to supervisors, willingness to put in extra effort on the job, voice behavior, so such as constructive, to improve standard and procedures, and perceptions of the organizational culture and ethical climate. And this was from Brown and colleagues in 2005. So it's really important to kind of understand that workplace ethic directly impacts how the organization is perceived, but also that the willingness to put in that extra effort from employees is because they feel like it's aligning with them. So organizations that share and align their values and principles with employees increase organization reputation and secure consumer trust. So it's not only the employees but also the stakeholders and the public. Right, so importance of workplace ethics, it impacts productivity and job satisfaction. Having a strong work ethic not only benefits individual employees, but it also has a positive impact on the overall morale within the organization. So when you know you're doing something good and that the organization is working ethically sound and good business practices, employees feel good about that. By implementing initiatives focused on a code of conduct, integrity, and training, companies can enhance the ethical values of their employees. Some organizations prioritize core values such as integrity, which encompass fundamental social responsibilities like respecting the rights of others, practicing honesty, and ensuring fair treatment for all. Ramlawati and colleagues 2023 discusses how efficiency and effectiveness are closely linked to honesty, integrity, and justice. Leaders who prioritize ethical decision making processes with respect, sincerity, and honesty can strengthen their relationships with employees. Importance of work ethics for organizational reputation, transparent and fair work environment. An article by Payne, 1994, Managing for Organizational Integrity, outlines how individuals at all levels of an organization rapidly responded to Johnson & Johnson's Tylenol crisis. Their shared values and principles are attributed to their cohesive and ethically sound decision. So, employees from all levels agreed, and because of that, the strength of their shared values and ethical work environment, they addressed the situation that was dire quickly and ethically. Consequences of unethical practices could be damage to the reputation. It decreases employee engagement. No one wants to be part of something, about a part of an organization that has a low reputation. This also impacts lower employee morale because they're not making the sound decisions. It also ties into the legal liability, and it decreases market value. And an organization's reputation is critical, as the public and the stakeholders' perceptions can significantly impact its success. An article by Galeen discusses in 1992 repercussions and legal liabilities of Sears and Roebuck and Company. They had numerous consumer complaints about unnecessary and misleading sale practices. Employees were under strict quotas for specific automotive parts, and failure to meet these quotas resulted in reduced hours and department transfers. So employees were under a lot of pressure at that moment. They felt that they had to do any means necessary to be able to meet those quotas. The organization's failure to differentiate between necessary and unnecessary services, and the lack of leadership support for ethical practices led employees to do whatever was necessary to meet quotas. While the organization's sales practice intention was not to defraud, consumers lost confidence and trust, ultimately damaging the organization's reputation due to unethical practices. And they also had to pay out a large sum for those consumers that approved unnecessary services. What can we do to demonstrate ethical behavior? So, modeling from the top down: integrity, respect, trust, fairness, honesty, reliable, accountability, and responsibility. Integrity. Individuals with high degree of integrity have a strong personal commitment to moral identity and believe that people should be ethical. Klaus and colleagues, 2017. According to Kohler, upholding moral and ethical principles, leaders can create a culture that supports the well-being of employees, leading to increased productivity and organizational success. Integrity is demonstrated by individuals who display strong moral and ethical principles at work. Leaders who exhibit integrity are perceived as reliable and trustworthy. So, when individuals in leadership exhibit integrity, they have a natural ability to attract others to them because of their reliability and their fairness. They know that this person is reliable, that they're going to make the right decision, whether or not someone is present to see, they'll make these decisions. And they know that they're fair, so they naturally attract others because of this trait. Employees perceive such individuals as dependable leaders who consistently do what is just and expected of them, making the right choices even when no one is present to see them. This is extremely important. Fairness and honesty is part of workplace ethics. So being honest and fair in relationships with coworkers and stakeholders, this can boost employee morale, increase employee retention, and attract talent. Who doesn't want to be part of an organization that has a fantastic reputation of being fair and honest? Most individuals want to be part of something good and make a positive difference. Corporate citizenship is an extension of boosting an organization's reputation. When organizations make the right choices to decrease the negative impact on a group, the environment, or the world, it positively affects employees and increases customer loyalty. Communication. Effective communication is essential for promoting ethical behavior within an organization. Employees better grasp the company's values and collective goals by clearly communicating policies and procedures. When communication channels are open and employees are willing to engage in dialogue, it helps prevent misunderstandings. This helps increase and foster workplace ethics, having these key elements in the organization and leadership and between employees. Being able to have that channel open to be able to approach leaders in regards to any issues or identifying things that may occur is extremely important. Respect and trust. Displaying concern for others promotes respect and trust and is dependable when it comes to honoring agreements. According to Pantalakis, a strong work ethic is typically linked with professionalism. Individuals with a strong work ethic maintain a positive attitude, communicate effectively, and treat others with respect and courtesy. They recognize the significance of representing their company favorably. Responsibility and accountability. Issues occur and mistakes happen. Earlier, we discussed Johnson & Johnson's swift response to the Tylenol crisis, demonstrating how an organization's shared vision and values can lead to decisive action. Their proactive business practices promptly address the issue to mitigate further damage. Taking responsibility for the situation and implementing proactive measures are crucial. A culture of accountability within an organization ensures that individuals uphold high responsibility for themselves and their colleagues. So we've kind of gone through some of the key element traits that form part of workplace ethics. Um, Now we're going to speak more in regards to the organizational responsibility. Organizational ethics education and training are essential to ensure that employees clearly understand ethical rules and how to apply them in their daily work activities. This helps organizations minimize risk and foster a more positive work environment and increasing productivity. So, how do we do it? How do organizations establish and foster this positive ethical work environment? Right. So, organizations can take the steps by providing employees with training, establishing a code of ethics and conduct. So, right from recruitment, they're going over these policies and the codes, so that employees understand what is expected of them, and something that they would have to update when there's a change, maybe in compliance on the law, or an issue that arose, that they would have to update the code of ethics and conduct, and making sure that we adhere to them, leaders adhere to them. Analyzing situations to identify ethical issues, so that's important for organizations to establish and practice, and establishing processes to protect employees and information. Employee training. According to Warner, providing training to all employees should align with the goals and the strategies of the organization. And this could be through awareness training, role playing, specific ethical training processes, focus groups on specific organizational issues. So if something is identified, being able to have these open dialogues and these group discussions can help highlight where the issue is and how we could prevent them from happening again. The importance of employee training. Waples and colleagues study found that effective ethics training programs can decrease misconduct and positively affect moral judgment. Training in ethics is crucial for helping employees understand the organization's expectations and make morally legitimate decisions. It also encourages employees to align with the organization's ethical vision, promoting a harmonious balance between various stakeholders. So the trainings are important to be able to align and fill in those gaps and needs. Establishing a code of ethics. This helps provide guidance about unacceptable behavior. It helps employees understand the organization's best practices, so their business practices. It guides employees of the organization's business practice, set a code of professionalism. So it's really important because we kind of understand what's expected and how we know what not to do. Organizations rely on leadership teams to establish and uphold a robust code of ethical conduct, which serves as a model for all employees. When administrators consistently adhere to this code, it communicates a strong message that universal compliance is not just expected but imperative. For example, hiring practices in organizations are regulated by laws and regulations. However, some organizations are automatically governed by legal business conduct, a special conduct code, depending on the organization's services. They must comply with this ethical code. So, smaller organizations, depending on the type of organizations, they create their own code of ethics and conduct. However, things that are federally regulated, such as Wall Street banking systems, they have to adhere to a specific code that is governed by the law, by the federal government. Analyzing situations to identify issues. So this is really important. If you know that the floor is wet and there's no sign, then you should voice that someone should put a sign there because someone could slip and fall. So raising awareness about issues and clear communications helps employees understand the organization's shared values, vision, culture, procedures, policies, business practices, code of conduct, and ethics. So identifying issues is extremely important and helps employees understand the consequences of unethical behavior from other employees or the organization itself. So raising awareness about issues can help others. So we understand that an ethical choice means that we're choosing our integrity to help guide our decision, that we're being fair, that we are honest, trustworthy, that we're reliable, that we are accountable for our actions, and that we respect not only those around us, but also the organization and our stakeholders. So, how do we make a decision? What is it that we need to understand when making a decision? So, an ethical decision, whether if we help someone or do we not tell the whole truth so that we're kind of covering up for our mistake, whether to gossip about a work colleague. So these are decisions that we need to make before we do them, right? So when we're making a decision, we need to assess a couple of things. So we need to know if it's the right thing. We also need to reason if it's fair, if it's honest. Does my decision, does it violate compliance? So when deciding, making a decision, one's moral compass activates to determine whether it is right or if it's wrong. If your decision, if your choice goes against these four elements here, if it goes against honesty, if it goes against fairness, if it goes against what's right, and it violates compliance, it goes against ethical behavior. When individuals make ethical decisions, they are making, or they are their behavior is ethical, and this also helps those around them understand how these systematic decisions are important and how they affect, or that they kind of help with good business practice. And it's important that when we're making a decision, we kind of understand what's expected of us and the code of ethics and conduct, because sometimes the lines can be blurred. For instance, we may have that instance of just saying that, saying a small white lie to cover up maybe missing a deadline. So we just need to understand what's expected to us and be accountable for the fact that we possibly missed the deadline, and just admitting to it instead of covering it up. This is an example of how we can make a decision, how we could kind of differentiate how our decision making and our behavior can be viewed as ethical or unethical. So this example is in our workplace, there's a communal area where all employees are able to come in and out. So it's not a private area. This is for all, it's accessible for all employees. In this communal area, there's a small kitchen, and there's a refrigerator where employees can store their food. So here they could just put their food in, and then whenever they're ready to grab it, eat it, have lunch or break, they could access this refrigerator in this communal area. We're going to say Sarah, who's a diligent employee. She labels her yogurt pot with her name, and she places it in the refrigerator to enjoy during her afternoon break. So she just grabs it, writes her name down, because she wants to make sure that everyone understands that that's hers. That way no one's confusing yogurt pots in the refrigerator. She puts it there, closes the door, goes back to work, so that later on in the afternoon she's able to have it to eat. Bob, one of her colleagues, feeling peckish early in the morning, and decides to help himself to Sarah's yogurt without her consent. So he kind of looks in the refrigerator, sees this small item, thinks, oh, well, Sarah, not gonna miss it. Sees the name, it's okay. He just takes it and he just starts to eat it, throws it in the bin, and walks away. So poor Sarah is left without her afternoon snack because Bob decided to make the decision that goes against what is right, honest, and fair and respectable of someone else's items. And this clearly shows how this is unethical workplace behavior and violates the code of ethics and conduct that the organization expects of all their employees, respecting each other, not only physically, but also their personal stuff. I hope that example helped a bit clarify what unethical and unethical behavior or decision would be. So, how can we help apply our ethical decision-making skills and support those around us? So, not only how we could help apply our ethical decision-making skills, which is fantastic. We're here, we're there, we know what's right, we know what's wrong, we're using reason to make these decisions. But we also want to be able to support those co-workers, subordinates, everyone around us to to support them to make the same type of sound decisions that adhere to the code of ethics and conduct at the workplace. So modeling can help demonstrate to others how to differentiate between correct and incorrect decisions. Right? So, for instance, Bob could have felt peckish, and maybe he could have known that, every day around the same time he gets a bit peckish, he should bring from his home a bit of a snack so that it kind of helps calm down his hunger pang in the early morning. And the way that he could have modeled and demonstrated to others how to treat other people's belongings and stuff is by not touching Sarah's yogurt pot and not eating it, and respecting the fact that she had she bought her snack from home, wrote her name, and put it in the refrigerator, trusting that the other colleagues at the office was not going to take her stuff. So he could have made the sound choice of respecting that and demonstrating ethical behavior. Ethical leadership contributes to building a solid community. So it starts from the top down, right? We want to make sure that our upper management and our leaders, our managers, are modeling the behavior that the organization wants. The ones what not only what they want, what they expect, how they want us to mirror their code of ethics. Leadership contributes to building a solid community, fostering a sense of unity, considering the values and purpose of employees and the organization. That's really important to know and understand. Right, so we're here. So how do we protect employees and shareholders? This is really important, kind of emphasizing a solid work ethic and not only benefits the organization, but also individuals, all employees. By prioritizing core values such as integrity, which encompass fundamental social responsibilities, including respecting the rights of others, practicing honesty, ensuring fair treatment for all, organizations can create a work environment that values and respects its employees. So this is exactly what employees, what individuals want to be a part of. They want to be a part of organization that prioritizes these values of respecting each other, practicing honesty, and ensuring that fair treatment for all, making sure that if someone goes against the code of ethics and conduct, that they are corrected, and that it's not something that's just swept under the rug, that they're all valuable and that they all are being ensured fair treatment. And this type, the code of conduct and ethics helps guide them there. Business ethics also protects shareholders from unfair trades by implementing fair business practices. So this is extremely important. Stakeholders want to know. They want to know that they're part of something that practices and implements fair business practices. For example, a dental office regularly sends swabs for sterilizing equipment to ensure proper functioning. So every week They send a swab of their sterilizing equipment, which kind of sterilizes all the instruments that go in people's valves. Um, they send a swab out regularly to ensure that it's running smoothly, that all the bacteria and everything that's coded to make it sterile is functioning. Um, After receiving a failed result, the person in charge realizes that this fair result can result, or a consequence, um, realizes that all appointments for the next day have to be canceled. They understand that there's going to have to be work put into it, but also that it's going to result in significant financial loss for the practice. The individual is aware of previous false negatives that was been caused by a faulty part that has not been replaced in the machine. So, because they haven't swapped out this part for this sterilizer, they've received false negatives. The person in charge choosing to ignore the failed result because they believe that it was due to this faulty part, and they continue to see patients and use the sterilizer that may not be on sterilizing instruments, would be an unethical decision, because they're putting the profitability of the practice before making a sound ethical choice. So they're not protecting their employees because they're still using unsterilized instruments, and they're not protecting their stakeholders and their consumers, and not valuing their trust by not ensuring that they're using sterilized instruments. Right, so we've gotten to our reflection, and we could kind of go over the things that we've addressed, which is we've kind of analyzed situations to identify ethical issues, so we know what to look for. It's knowing that the processes is that organization to establish, protect employees, the elements, the core values, characteristics that promote ethical behavior and decision making, and the objective of that, we now understand how the application of skills for making ethical decisions and supporting others comprehend the code of ethics. How can I apply these resources? This is where all the information we have here. Now, how can we do this? How can I apply this? Now, how as an individual, as a leader, how can I use this information to continue to support others and help myself make more ethical decision making? So it starts from the top and trickles down. All employees should treat each other respectfully and make ethical choices when completing their tasks and working with others. Not only that, the way that organizations apply this is by having the leadership, having them understand and train, because they play a vital role in modeling and fostering ethics in the workplace. The best way to encourage ethical behavior among your employees is to set good examples and have a strict policy against specific unethical behavior. A leadership team's reputation, which is based on ethical behavior, is very important for the long-term success and survival of the organization. On the other hand, companies that ignore ethics are taking a significant risk not only due to the legal environment, but also lowering retention, um, lowering productivity, morale, and job satisfaction. Not caring about ethics can lead to serious legal trouble for employees and the organization. Ensuring your behavior and your decisions are fair, consistent, integrous, respectful, and compliant with the law will help foster the workplace environment and the code of ethics in the organization. So now that we've gone through everything, we have our post-test questions, which we're going to go through. So the first question is, when making a decision, it is important to prioritize unethical considerations over strict compliance with codes. True or false? So is it important that when we're making a decision that we're prioritizing unethical possibilities over strict compliance? True or false? Second question. The meanings of morals and ethics are not interchangeable. True or false? Question 3. Statement 3. Leadership can go against ethical codes to get the job done. They could work in the gray area. They could go through the blurred lines. True or false? An organization's ethical culture can damage its reputation. So can the organization's ethical culture damage its reputation if it's negative? True or false? Number 5. Organizations that establish guidelines help employees make better decisions that benefit the workplace. True or false? So I have the answer key. If you decided that number 1 was false, you are correct. It's not important to prioritize unethical considerations over strict compliance. It's important to prioritize ethical considerations that go in accordance with strict compliance codes. Number 2, if you answered false, you're right. The meanings of morals and ethics are interchangeable. Number 3, if you answered false for number 3, you're correct. Leaders should go in accordance to ethical code to get the job done. And if they were doing something that was wrong, then they should be held accountable for it and correct it in the right way, take the steps to correct it. Number 4, an organization's ethical culture can damage its reputation. Excuse me. This is true. An organization's ethical culture can damage its reputation. So if they are known for dumping garbage into the sea, and this goes against the ethical culture of the organization, it could damage its reputation. Number 5, organizations that establish guidelines help employees make better decisions that benefit the workplace. Yes, this is true. If you answered this, fantastic, well done. Organizations that establish guidelines, it helps direct employees make the decisions that are expected for them, and that benefits the organization as a whole. Limiting communication of organization policy fosters a positive and ethical work environment. True or false? Number 7, organizations should limit employees' questioning of unsafe processes. True or false? Ethical training is unnecessary and does not contribute to developing employees' decision-making skills. True or false? Number 9, all employees should behave and make decisions reasonably consistently, integral, respectful, and compliant with the law. True or false? Number 10. All individuals have identical moral beliefs. True or false? So let's start with number 6. If you answered that it was false, you are right. Communication should not be limited. It does not. If you're limiting communication, then you're not fostering a positive and ethical work environment. Number 7. If you answered false for number 7, then you are correct. Organizations should not limit employees' questioning of unsafe processes. So we want to be able to identify ethical issues, right? So when we see something that's not safe, maybe that there is boxes around an employee that's taking boxes out of a loading dock, knowing that they could trip, we should question this and definitely communicate this to superiors or leaders that this is an unsafe process. Number 8, ethical training is unnecessary and does not contribute to developing employees' decision-making skills. This is false. On number 9, question number 9, if you answered true, that's correct. Employees should behave and make decisions that are with all of these core values. If you answered false for number 10, then you are correct. All individuals do not have identical moral beliefs. There are different groups, different cultures, different circumstances that can change people's moral beliefs. So they're never identical. Number 11, organizational leadership plays a vital role in modeling and fostering ethics in the workplace. Childfree defines professional ethics as a universal code. That's number 12. True or false? Number 13, an employee who intentionally leaves out parts of orders to complete them faster and get home earlier is exhibiting unethical behavior. True or false? Number 14, ethical standards should never be articulated in an organization's policies. True or false? And number 15, establishing a code of ethics provides guidance about unacceptable behavior. True or false? So number 11, if you answered true, then you are correct. Organizations' leadership they play a very vital role in modeling and fostering work ethic. On number 12, if you answered false, then you are correct. Childfree defines professional ethics as not a universal code. So depending on the organization, it differs between them. Number 13, if you answered true, you are correct. This does exhibit unethical behavior. An employee who intentionally leaves out a part from an order to make it go faster is defrauding the customer and also going against organizational policy of business practices. Number 14, ethical standards should never be articulated in organizations' policies. This is false. Ethical standards should be articulated in the organization's policy so that all employees understand the guidelines and things and the behaviors and decision making that's expected of them. And if you answered true for number 15, you are correct. Establishing a code of ethics provides guidance about unacceptable behavior. Thank you very much for listening to my workplace ethics training video. I hope you found this insightful and resourceful, and that you are able to take this information and apply it to your leadership skills and help foster a positive work environment. The next 3 slides include my references that I would help use to support the information I provided you. I hope you have a good night. Thank you very much.